the 32nd century. Humanity was no longer a mere civilization. It was a living scar across the fabric of the galaxy. The Great Silence War, a brutal conflict where alien empires had sought to erase Earth from existence with weapons that devoured memories and entire histories, had ended not with humanity's annihilation, but with its terrifying rebirth. They had risen from the ashes, not with advanced technology or diplomatic finesse, but with a raw, unyielding will to survive. This fierce, almost suicidal tenacity was what other species, in their ancient, sterile wisdom, called the madness of the flesh-born. Now, the Terran coalition commanded the known spaceways, not through superior engineering or exotic energy weapons, but through an indomitable spirit that bordered on lunacy. They were the unpredictable variable, the force that refused to be extinguished. Among them was Commander Elara Voss, a veteran of the Black Fleet, whispered about in hushed tones across star systems as the Witch of Titan. Her ship, the Helios Blade, was a testament to humanity's unique brand of resilience. It was a patchwork behemoth, cobbled together from the shattered hulls of a dozen worlds, a floating monument to the impossible art of rebuilding from ruin. Its very existence was a middle finger to the galaxy's established order. Voss and her crew were tasked with a mission of paramount importance: to protect the Tarsus Arch, a newly discovered alien structure nestled in the dead zones of space, a place where time itself seemed to warp and matter screamed in silent agony. It was an artifact of an ancient, forgotten civilization, and its secrets were as dangerous as the void itself. But as Elara prepared for the journey, a new dread began to ripple through the established powers. A force extragalactic and utterly alien was stirring. It was something so ancient, so terrifying, that even the millennia-old empires dared not give it a name. Alliances, forged over centuries of cautious diplomacy, began to crumble. Civilizations that had stood for eons bowed their heads in fear, and the humans, as they always did, stood their ground. Commander Elara Voss stood on the bridge of the Helios Blade, the recycled air thick with the scent of ozone and desperation. Her face, etched with the harsh lines of countless battles, was illuminated by the flickering, unreliable readouts of her ship. Titan had left its mark on her, a cold, unforgiving crucible that had forged her into the weapon the Terran coalition needed. They called her the Witch of Titan, and she wore the moniker like a badge of honor, a testament to her ability to navigate the impossible and emerge, bloody but unbroken. The Helios Blade was a testament to her philosophy. Its hull was a mosaic of mismatched plating, scarred and welded, bearing the marks of battles fought and won against overwhelming odds. Its engines whined with a desperate energy, a constant reminder that their survival depended on pushing the limits of what was possible. This was not the sleek, sterile technology of the elder races. This was the brutal, functional aesthetic of a species that fought with its back against the wall. "Status report, Jax," Elara commanded, her voice a low growl that cut through the ambient hum of the ship. Jax, her hulking, cybernetically enhanced first mate, grunted. "Navigational arrays are struggling with the temporal distortions, Commander. The Tarsus Arch is playing hell with our sensors. It's like trying to map a ghost." Elara's gaze drifted to the main view screen, where the swirling nebulae of the dead zone bled into an oppressive, starless black. The Tarsus Arch was out there, a whisper in the void, an enigma that promised either salvation or annihilation. The ancient empires, with their vast fleets and millennia of accumulated knowledge, had recoiled from this region. They spoke of temporal anomalies, of matter that screamed, of a place where reality itself frayed at the edges. They sought order, perfection, and the Arch represented a chaotic unknown they could not abide. But humanity, the madness of the flesh-born, thrived on the unknown. They had faced extinction and clawed their way back. They understood that chaos was not merely destruction. It was the fertile ground from which new possibilities, however terrifying, could emerge. "We push through," Elara stated, her eyes hardening. "The Coalition trusts us with this." The fate of the galaxy might depend on what's in that arch. We don't have the luxury of fear. A flicker of something akin to unease crossed Jax's augmented features. The extragalactic force, Commander, reports are coming in. The Cathar Imperium has fallen silent. The Vexian hegemony there in full retreat. Whatever is waking up out there, it's not like anything we've ever faced. Elara nodded, a grim understanding dawning. The ancient powers, the ones who valued order above all else, were crumbling. Their sterile perfection was no match for this primal, cosmic horror. But humanity, with its messy emotions, its capacity for both immense cruelty and profound sacrifice, might just have the grit to endure. Let them retreat, she said, a dangerous glint in her eyes. Let them kneel. We humans, we write with blood, and we're about to start a new chapter. The Helios Blade limped into the Tarsus dead zone, its hull groaning under the strain of the temporal distortions. The void here was different, not merely empty, but actively hostile. Stars were absent, replaced by a swirling miasma of distorted light and shadow that played tricks on the eyes and the mind. Time itself seemed to stutter, moments stretching into eternities, then snapping back with jarring abruptness. "Commander, we're picking up something," reported Lieutenant Anya Sharma, the ship's xenolinguist and a surprisingly adept navigator of temporal anomalies. Her voice, usually calm and measured, held a tremor of awe and fear. "It's not a signal, not in any conventional sense. It's a resonance, like the fabric of space is humming." On the main view screen, the Tarsus Arch began to resolve from the swirling chaos. It was not a structure of metal or stone, but of solidified light and impossible geometry. It pulsed with an inner luminescence, shifting through colors that defied the known spectrum. It was ancient, impossibly so, and radiated an aura of immense, dormant power. "The Arch," Elara breathed, her gaze fixed on the alien edifice. "It's beautiful and terrifying." As they drew closer, the resonance intensified, seeping into the ship, into their very bones. It wasn't just a sound. It was a chorus of whispers, a symphony of forgotten thoughts and alien consciousness. Elara felt a strange pull, a yearning to understand, to connect with the ancient intelligence that had created this marvel. "The whispers, they're speaking of rewriting," Anya stammered, her hands flying across her console. "Not just minds, Commander. Universal consciousness. It's a machine that can reshape reality itself." The implications were staggering. A device capable of altering the fundamental nature of existence. The ancient empires would undoubtedly seek to use it to impose their sterile order, to erase conflict, pain, and free will, creating a perfect, lifeless universe. But Elara saw something else. She saw the raw, untamed power of creation. She saw the potential for change, for evolution, for a future forged not in sterile perfection, but in the crucible of experience. She saw the very essence of what it meant to be human, to embrace the chaos, the pain, the loss, and to find meaning in the struggle. Suddenly, a klaxon blared through the ship. "Incoming transmission," Jax roared. It's the extragalactic force. They're not attacking, Commander, they're broadcasting." The view screen flickered, replaced by an image that sent a chill down Alara's spine. It was a being of pure energy, shifting and coalescing, its form defying comprehension. Its voice, when it spoke, was not a sound, but a vibration that resonated directly in their minds, a cold, ancient intellect that spoke of oblivion. "The age of flesh is over," the entity broadcasted, its voice echoing with the weight of forgotten stars. "The universe craves silence, order. The Arch will be the instrument of its final purification. Resistance is illogical." Elara met the gaze of the cosmic entity, her own eyes burning with defiance. "Illogical," she scoffed, her voice amplified through the ship's comms. "Maybe, but we're the madness of the flesh-born. We don't seek order, we seek to live." She turned to her crew, her gaze sweeping over Anya, Jax, and the others, their faces a mixture of fear and grim determination. "They want silence. They want to erase everything that makes us who we are. They want to rewrite the universe into their perfect, dead image." She gripped the command chair, her knuckles white. But we humans, we write with blood. We write with pain, with loss, with the beautiful, terrible chaos of existence. And we are not going to be erased. The extragalactic entity, a being of pure, cold intellect that called itself the architect of stillness, did not attack. Instead, it unleashed a wave of psychic despair, a palpable force designed to crush the will and extinguish the very spark of defiance. Across the galaxy, ancient fleets faltered, their crews succumbing to an overwhelming apathy. The Cathar Imperium's star-spanning armada simply ceased to function, its ships drifting like tombs in the void. The Vexian hegemony, masters of psionic warfare, found their own minds turned against them, their disciplined ranks dissolving into catatonic fear. But the Helios Blade and its human crew were different. The psychic assault washed over them, a chilling wave, but it did not break them. Elara felt the tendrils of despair trying to latch onto her, whispering insidious doubts, reminding her of every loss, every failure. But the scars of Titan, the echoes of the Great Silence War, had forged a resilience that even the architect could not comprehend. "It's trying to break us," Jax grunted, his cybernetic eye glowing red as he fought the psychic onslaught. "But it doesn't understand. We live with this stuff." Amidst the chaos, a new signal pierced the psychic static. It was weak, erratic, but undeniably intelligent. "Commander," Anya reported, her voice strained but excited, "I'm picking up a defector's signal. It's Vexian, a diplomat apparently. He's requesting asylum and offering information about the architect." Elara's brow furrowed. A Vexian diplomat. The hegemony was in full retreat, their psionic abilities turned inward. Why would one of their own risk everything now? "On screen," she ordered. The image that appeared was of a being unlike any Elara had seen. Tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like polished obsidian and large, mournful eyes that held an ancient sadness. This was Ambassador Kalen of the Vexian hegemony. "Commander Voss," Kalen's voice resonated, not through the comms but directly in their minds, a controlled yet deeply pained psionic projection. "I seek refuge. The architect, it is not merely a force of destruction. It is a perversion of order. It seeks to impose a universal consciousness, a single, unified mind devoid of individuality, of emotion, of life." Kalen's psionic voice trembled. "My people sought to control the Arch, to use its power to enforce peace through mental subjugation. But the architect, it is something far older, far more absolute. It seeks not peace, but the cessation of all thought, all feeling. It is the ultimate entropy." "Why are you helping us?" Elara demanded, her gaze sharp. "Your people are fleeing." "My people are succumbing to fear," Kalen projected, a profound sorrow in his tone. "But I have studied your species, Commander. The humans. Your madness, as my people call it. Your capacity for illogical defiance, for sacrifice, for embracing the very chaos the architect seeks to eradicate. It is the only thing that offers a chance. The Arch is not merely a weapon. It is a key. It can rewrite consciousness, yes, but it can be influenced. It can be understood." Kalen's mournful eyes met Elara's. "The architect believes pain, loss, and conflict are flaws to be purged. Your species, you embrace them. You forge yourselves in their fires. You see them not as flaws but as the price of freedom. If anyone can understand the Arch, if anyone can prevent its ultimate purpose, it is you." Elara considered the Vexian's words. A traitor from a species known for its rigid adherence to order, offering them a chance to understand a machine that could rewrite reality. It was a desperate gamble, born of desperation. But humanity had always been forged in desperation. "All right, Ambassador," Elara said, a grim smile touching her lips. "You have asylum. Now tell us everything you know about this Arch. We have a universe to save, and it seems we'll be doing it the human way, messy, illogical, and with everything to lose." The Helios Blade became a crucible of unlikely alliances. Commander Elara Voss, the Witch of Titan, found herself working alongside Anya Sharma, the brilliant xenolinguist, Jax, the cybernetically enhanced brute, and Ambassador Kalen, the Vexian defector whose psionic insights proved invaluable. They were a motley crew, representing a spectrum of species and philosophies, united by the looming threat of the Architect of Stillness and the enigmatic Tarsus Arch. Kalen, using his psionic abilities, began to interface with the Arch's subtle resonance, translating its alien logic into concepts that the human crew could grasp. It was not a machine in the conventional sense, but a nexus of cosmic consciousness, a loom upon which the threads of reality were woven. The architect sought to unravel these threads, to reweave them into a single, uniform tapestry of absolute order, devoid of the messy, unpredictable patterns of individual thought and emotion. It perceives individuality as a flaw, Kalen projected, his psionic voice laced with a growing horror. Conflict, pain, loss, these are seen as errors in the universal code. The architect believes that by erasing these errors, it will achieve a state of perfect, eternal stillness, a universe without consciousness, without change, without life. Elara listened, her jaw tight. This was the ultimate expression of the alien desire for perfection, a sterile utopia achieved through annihilation. And the Arch, she pressed, it can do this. It can rewrite the fundamental code of consciousness, Kalen confirmed. It can impose a singular, unified awareness upon all sentient beings. Imagine, Commander, a galaxy where all conflict ceases, where all pain is forgotten. A perfect, silent peace. Jack scoffed, his augmented voice a low rumble. Sounds like hell to me. No fighting, no passion, no us. Precisely, Elara agreed, her eyes fixed on the pulsing arch on the viewscreen. The architect offers oblivion disguised as peace. It offers the end of suffering by ending existence itself. But the humans, we understand that pain, loss, and conflict are not flaws. They are the price of freedom. They are the crucible in which our spirit is forged. She turned to Kalen. Your people, the Vexians, you sought to use the Arch to enforce order, didn't you? To control minds. Kalen's obsidian skin seemed to darken. We sought to eliminate conflict, to create a harmonious galaxy. But we were arrogant. We believed we could control such power. The architect, it is a far older, far more absolute entity. It seeks not harmony but the void. So, how do we stop it? Anya asked, her fingers flying across her console, trying to find a weakness in the Arch's alien architecture. The Arch responds to consciousness, Kalen explained. It is a mirror. The architect seeks to impose its will upon it. But perhaps it can be influenced by a different kind of consciousness, one that embraces the very things the architect seeks to erase. Elara's eyes lit up with a dangerous idea. Chaos, she murmured. Intensity, the madness of the flesh-born. She looked at her crew, at the Vexian diplomat, at the battered, scarred hull of the Helios Blade. We can't fight the architect with logic or order. We have to fight it with what makes us human, with our flaws, our passions, our refusal to be silenced. She turned back to the Arch, a fierce determination hardening her features. We're not going to erase the pain, Ambassador. We're going to use it. We're going to show this architect that the price of freedom is worth paying. We're going to write our own ending in steel and blood. The architect of stillness, sensing the nascent defiance emanating from the Helios Blade, unleashed its full power. Not a physical assault, but a psychic wave of unprecedented magnitude, designed to shatter the minds of any who dared resist its vision of universal silence. Across the galaxy, the last vestiges of organized resistance crumbled. Ancient empires built on millennia of sterile order dissolved into catatonic despair. Their fleets, once symbols of galactic dominance, became drifting mausoleums. But on the bridge of the Helios Blade, amidst the groaning metal and flickering lights, a different kind of battle raged. Elara Voss stood firm, her scarred hands gripping the command chair, her mind a fortress against the psychic tide. Beside her, Jax roared, his cybernetic enhancements fighting a losing battle against the overwhelming mental pressure. Anya Sharma, her face pale, desperately worked to shield their ship's core systems, while Ambassador Kalen, his obsidian form shimmering, acted as a psionic conduit, attempting to translate the Arch's alien consciousness into a language of defiance. "It's overwhelming," Kalen projected, his psionic voice strained. "The architect seeks to impose a singular, unified consciousness, a perfect, silent existence. It sees individuality, emotion, even thought itself as a disease to be purged. Then we give it a disease it can't cure," Elara growled, her eyes blazing. She looked at the Tarsus Arch, pulsing with an ancient, terrible power. "Kalen, you said the Arch responds to consciousness. It's a mirror. What if we show it a reflection it can't comprehend?" "What do you mean, Commander?" Anya asked, her voice barely a whisper. "The architect wants order, silence, perfection," Elara said, a dangerous glint in her eyes. "It wants to erase pain, loss, conflict. But those are the things that make us us. They are the price of our freedom. We don't want to erase them, we embrace them." She turned to her crew, her voice ringing with a fierce, almost insane conviction. "We are the madness of the fleshborn. We are the scars on the galaxy. We are the ones who rebuild from ruins. We don't seek perfection. We seek to live." Elara focused her will, channeling her rage, her grief, her defiance, her very essence, towards the Arch. Jax added his own raw, primal fury, the echoes of 1,000 battles fueling his resolve. Anya poured in her desperate hope, her fierce protectiveness of humanity's right to exist, to feel. Kalen, the Vexian diplomat who had chosen defiance over sterile order, projected his own ancient sorrow, his regret for his people's path, and his newfound hope in humanity's chaotic spirit. They poured their raw, unfiltered consciousness into the Arch, their pain, their loss, their love, their rage, their laughter, their very imperfections. It was a cacophony of raw emotion, a testament to the messy, beautiful, terrible reality of sentient life. On the main view screen, the Tarsus Arch began to react. Its steady pulse faltered, its colors shifting erratically. The whispers intensified, no longer a coherent broadcast from the architect, but a chaotic storm of alien thought, overwhelmed by the sheer, unadulterated intensity of human emotion. It's overloading," Kalen projected, his psionic voice filled with a mixture of shock and triumph. "The architect's consciousness cannot comprehend this beautiful chaos. It is designed for order, for stillness. This is anathema to it." The extragalactic entity, the architect of stillness, recoiled. Its psychic assault faltered, then ceased. The oppressive silence that had blanketed the galaxy began to recede, replaced by the faint, returning hum of distant stars. As the last star in the dying sector began its final, brilliant flare, a single message, broadcast across all Terran fleet frequencies, echoed through the void. "They tried to erase us, but we write with blood." The war was not over, but the tide had turned. Humanity, in its glorious, chaotic imperfection, had proven that the will to live, to feel, to be free, was a force more powerful than any sterile order. The Tarsus Arch, a machine capable of rewriting universal consciousness, had been touched not by the cold hand of perfection, but by the fiery, defiant heart of humanity. And in that touch, a new chapter in the galaxy's story had begun.